Donald Trump traveled to Livingston County, Michigan this week, to kind of try to counter what was happening at the DNC. Trump said, I'll get up off the couch. JD Vance wants a turn. And I'm going to go to Michigan, because I'm losing support there. So I got to do something to get back in this game. So he sets himself up. He's got a nice backdrop with the sheriff of Livingston County, a bunch of other uniformed police officers behind him, and Trump's goal with this little speech was to talk about his plan to deal with violent crime in the United States. And unfortunately for Donald Trump, he went a little too overboard and ended up stunning the crowd into complete and total silence with a shockingly stupid claim. Donald Trump told this crowd, including the police officers behind him, quote, "You can't walk across the street to get a loaf of bread. You get shot and you get mugged, you get raped, whatever it may be. You've seen it. I've seen it." So apparently, in Donald Trump's America, the one in his little alternative reality, if you go to the grocery store to get bread or whatever, it doesn't have to be bread, right? I mean, he's just using that as an example. But you go up there to get any groceries, you're either going to get shot, or you're going to get raped, or you're going to get mugged. Those are your only three options. That's what Donald Trump says is happening in this country. And again, he wasn't speaking in hyperbole because he told the officers, you've seen it, I've seen it, he says. So everybody going to the grocery store, if you're heading out there today, you're going to get, according to Trump, shot, raped, or mugged, or maybe a horrible combination of all three of those things. I don't know. I don't know what's happening in this fantasy world inside of his head, but I do know that nobody in that crowd bought it. They were shocked that Donald Trump even had the audacity to make this absolutely insane claim, and then to claim that I've seen it. Okay, so Donald Trump, you're telling us because you said I've seen it, right? Did you call the police? I mean, there would be 911 records of you calling the police if you watched somebody walk into a grocery store and get shot, right? I mean, I would love to hear that 911 call. Yes, hello, I'm outside the Piggly Wiggly here, and somebody has been shot. Very gross. There is blood everywhere. So much blood, you wouldn't believe it. They have been shot. I knew it would happen. They were going to get Brett. That didn't happen. Okay? That simply didn't happen. And by the way, if you are worried about people getting shot when they go grocery shopping, which, I'll be honest, is not unheard of in this country filled with guns, then you wouldn't be talking the way you are. You would be talking about the need for gun control here in the United States. Because it kind of sounds like, from what you're saying, that's the problem. Right? So you didn't even think about that part of this, did you? But of course he didn't. He's an idiot. And he makes things up, because that is a sign that his brain is progressively getting worse by the day at this point. But let's not forget the reason Trump was there in the first place. This wasn't just to talk about how you're going to get shot every time you walk into the grocery store. He was supposed to outline his plan for dealing with violent crime here in the United States, which he says is out of control. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the fact that for the last 2 years, violent crime across the United States has been dropping by 7 to 9% per year. Down from a high in the year 2020, when, by the way, Donald Trump was the president. So the crime rates are actually getting lower than they were when Donald Trump was the president. And yes, that was during COVID times in 2020. The years before that, it was still going down. We had a spike during COVID, and for the first few months of the Biden administration, once things started returning to normal, the violent crime rate began to fall again. This world that Donald Trump and the Republicans are trying to create for you of just violence everywhere, muggings, shootings, assaults, it doesn't actually exist. Do those things happen to people? Yes, they do. Nobody's denying that they happen. But it's not happening to you every single time you're going to the grocery store like Donald Trump says. It's happening to fewer and fewer people every year, which is a good thing that it's declining. But Trump can't have crime declining. He can't have the economy doing good, because if he does, then what does he have to run on? Absolutely nothing. So he goes to this fear mongering, telling people that there is a violent criminal lurking behind every corner, waiting to do unspeakable actions to you. And in his speech about his plan to tackle crime, he never said how he'd do it. He didn't actually lay out a plan. Like, there was no plan. He didn't say anything he would do. He did not announce any policy he would implement to lower the violent crime rates here in the United States. So you're a failure because you had to resort to lies and scare tactics to get people to even listen to you. You're a failure because you didn't do what the speech was for, which was to lay out your plan. But most importantly, number 3, the point I haven't even got to yet, is that we have a convicted felon out there telling us how bad crime is in this country. I cannot believe that the media is not out there running that headline. Convicted felon says crime is rampant in the country. That should have been the headline. That should have been the chyron at the bottom of the screen. Donald Trump was found guilty by a jury of 34 felony counts just a few months ago. And we're supposed to believe the convicted felon when he talks about getting tough on crime? Not to mention, he did say people will get, sexually assaulted if they go to the grocery store. Coming from a man who, according to a different jury, the E. Jean Carroll jury, said that he was liable for the sexual assault that E. Jean Carroll suffered. So you're listening to a man who a jury says, yes, he's liable for this assault. Another jury said, yes, he's guilty on 34 felony counts. Dozens of other women have accused him of harassment or worse. He's bragged about sexually assaulting women on that Access Hollywood tape, Grab Them by the You-Know-What, which is sexual assault. And we're supposed to listen to this guy, to the criminal, about how to handle crime here in the United States. I don't know. To me, kind of seems like one of the best ways to handle crime in the United States is to not have a convicted felon becoming the president of the United States. I think that's a little bit counterintuitive. But this is what we're dealing with right now. A serial philanderer, a predator for women, a convicted felon, a fraudster, a con man, sitting there griping to us about how horrible crime is in this country. Well, I guess technically he would know better than anybody else, right? Considering the fact that he's been accused of lots of crimes, he's been convicted of lots of crimes. So yeah, Donald Trump probably does think there's lots of crime happening all over this country, because when he looks at his personal life, all he sees are crime after crime after crime and accusation, allegations, indictments, arrests, all sorts of things. So maybe he's just a little skewed on this, because when he's talking about crime, he's really just talking about his personal life. Hi everyone, this here is Little Athena, and Athena would like to know why you haven't subscribed to Fair and Balanced yet, so please, don't let Athena down. Subscribe today.